Hello, everybody. Welcome to a really, really late Sunday Funday, and I am so sorry it's taken so long. If it has not been my poor time management capabilities mixed with my inability to make sure I have everything properly set up so I can film, to also just genuinely everything around me not wanting to work. It's been a trip for the past like 5 days since I've been trying to get down or sit down and actually review this. And what am I even talking about actually beyond what is below? That of course is Lost Bullet. Now, I am pretty sure a lot of you are going, what in the shit is Lost Bullet? So I will have to kind of give away a bit of the plot. So, spoilers, I guess, even though I'm going to try and keep what happens at the end of the movie and most of what actually transpires throughout it to a minimum if I can help it. But there's some things I'm going to have to talk about what I like and what I don't like about this movie. So first off, this is a foreign film, so those of you who do not like to read are going to be in a lot of trouble. To more importantly say, it is a French film. So, because this year has been so weird throughout Sunday Funday, instead of just doing mostly American films, I have decided to also touch, haha, look, I've done the Spanish and now I've done a French film. Eventually we're going to hit every fucking country in the European Union. Well, maybe not Britain, since it's no longer part of it. Haha. But with this French movie, this is, for lack of a better way to describe it, it is a stereotypical, with a lot of quotations on that, or I guess I would say almost generic, but I don't really want to use that word because it doesn't feel right. You have seen this kind of story before. Let me just put it that way. I'm trying to think of the best way, and there's no real great way of saying it. This is a story about a guy, his name is Lino, I believe it's how it's pronounced. Lino is how it's spelled. And those who are wanting to know, well, what about these actors? I know none of them. Haven't seen them in shit. One of them, I think he's famous for being in the Taxi series. And I haven't watched many of the Taxi movies. Not even the shitty, I think it was Jimmy Kimmel. Not Jimmy Kimmel, but Jamie Kennedy. Whoever, Jimmy Kimmel. Fuck them, they're both worthless. One of them was in that with Queen Latifah. That was the American Bastardized thing. But no, they're in the French version, which is now on its 5th film. But yeah, so Lino is a criminal. He is known for souping up cars and also being a great driver and all that. And during an attempt to try and rob this jewelry store, something kind of goes a little awry and Lino gets caught. And in order to keep his brother clear, because his brother's also kind of with him, he pretty much takes the fall for it. And eventually it turns out that this one detective who is part of what's called a Go Fast unit. Those who do not know a lot about French, like police procedures and all that, or more importantly, what the French have to deal with in terms of crimes, Go Fast was, the best way to describe it is just drug runners that use pretty much souped up cars and high-end or very, very talented drivers to evade all the police and run drugs into Paris, Marseilles, Versailles, or not Versailles. Different places like that. They run drugs throughout the entire country. And Go Fast units are meant to stop them. And that's pretty much what it boils down to. He ends up getting recruited by this detective who uses him to help build up their fleet of Go Fast vehicles, makes them better, makes them stronger, makes them able to defeat Go Fast units. And then eventually, kind of what you would kind of expect to happens. He gets framed for this one cop who's the synopsis will try and tell you he's a mentor. Less of a mentor, more of a friend. That is very straight up said that they are friends throughout this. I would love to tell you his name. I cannot pronounce it, unfortunately. My French is fucking horrible. I can barely pronounce his main character's name. You think I'm going to pronounce some other name that has an R and A and a Y in it? Ha! I can't even say Ray good. Yeah, Lino gets pretty much framed by crooked cops in the lead detective over this Go Fast unit's death, and he has to use some of his connections, and not only that, but his fighting skills to clear his name. The connections include a pseudo kind of love interest. This young lady, her name is Julia. I can't tell you much about her. The big focus of the entire film, I would say, is actually Lino. And also the one detective who unfortunately kind of dies 20 minutes in. And the bad parts about this movie, if I can start with a negative. The biggest issue I can actually say is it is sort of generic in certain regards. You have seen the story done. You've seen it done, not particularly better, but you have seen it done before. There's not a whole lot of new ground that this movie actually decides to tread. And that's the biggest negative I can say, because beyond that, this is actually one of the most thrilling movies you're actually going to sit down and watch. The action is very fantastically done. There is little to no CGI really done. There's a lot of actual, like, in your face, like, that is actually done in front of us. Like, at one point, Lino's driving his car and half of it's on fire just because he needs to save, this one piece of evidence. And still clear his name, and it's actually on fire. It doesn't seem to be CGI'd in anywhere, or if it is, it's very cleverly hidden. There's moments where he has to smash through a barricade while pushing another car, and it's just, you see a car flipping. In Fast and the Furious, you're going to see that it's going to be done with CGI. It's going to look like trash. Here, it's done with actual vehicles. You can see a camera get fucking annihilated at one point. It's kind of awesome. And that's one of the best things. This is, first off, there's so much practical effects are used throughout the entire film. If there is CGI done, it's only used because certain things they can't get away with as much. And then when there's practical effects, there's practical effects. And on top of that, this reminds me so much of those damn good, like, pretty much early 2000s or late 90s in essence crime action films. I know some people talk shit about it, and I admit it gets a little silly at times. I like the Gone 60 Seconds remake. Sure, I will fully admit it has fuck all really to do with the original, beyond the main character's name, if I'm not mistaken. But I actually really enjoy it. I love Con Air as well. It's a fantastic film. If you want to, again, kind of include that, hell, the second Fast and the Furious movie, I would still contend is probably the best out of them all, despite the fact it still is egregious with its CGI usage. This movie brought me back to those, and not only that, but reminded me of where they can be really, really damn good. First off, the character of Lino, he is your stereotypical kind of, not a super, like, there's so much depth to his character, but there's enough that you can actually care for him. And not only that, but he is badass enough without being a Superman. He's not The Rock in every movie. If I can give The Rock any shit about anything, and please don't kill me, sir. The biggest problem that he tends to have is just he's too much of that Superman. There's too much that The Rock is just incapable of being defeated by different things. He never seems like he's really getting bloodied by anything. It's just, too often he just kind of is fine. And that's the thing. It's like here, Lino gets the piss beat out of him, but he usually gives more than he takes, which is always the idea. Or another great comparison, I would say, between this film and another film franchise, or more importantly, a film in particular, I would say the first two Transporter movies. Lino, of course, has this connection, obviously, with Jason Statham and the fact that, he's bald. But other than that, and also the fact that he's, the super, well versed in mechanics, he's not as weird as Jason Statham was in the Transporter series. And I will say he's not as charismatic as Jason Statham can be. But because of how they do the fight choreography throughout this, which he does actually get some fisticuffs with people, it's actually pretty damn thrilling. I actually constantly felt myself at the edge of the seat. I was so enthralled with the entire movie. And I will fully admit, this is a movie I put on just because I'm like, I have to watch something this week, so I guess I'll watch this. Fuck it, it came out in 2020. And I was thoroughly surprised. This is a fantastic action movie. You've seen it, and if you've watched the Transporter movies, some of this probably is like, oh, well, this, I think I have heard this kind of plot, but you haven't seen how this has been done before in other movies. If it has, hey, shoot me out the movie. I'd like to check it out because this still was fantastic looking. Not only that, but despite the fact that I'd say the characters they're not underdeveloped, they're just developed. There's just enough to the characters that you care about them. You do feel enough for Lino that you want him to prevail throughout the entire thing. You do feel shock whenever his friend actually does get murdered in front of him. And you also feel whenever he gets reunited with his brother, because there is a bit of an issue there. And it would seem like, oh, well, they're, pushing for this, like I said, pseudo love interest between him and this other young lady. I keep telling you her name is Julia. But I like that since the focus is supposed to be Lino, that's where the focus is. If the focus had been purposely and throughout the entire film showing a bit of Julia and Lino coming up, that would have been one thing if it would have just been solely on him near the end. But with her more or less playing a supporting character to him, I'm not against it here. It's not because the actress was bad or anything like that, but this was his tale. This was his story. If they want to do a sequel to this and they decide, hey, Julia's going to be the main character, I wouldn't have anything against that. She was a badass. And she fucking kicked ass and didn't take shit from anybody over anything. Yeah, I hate for this to seem so short and so to the point, but this was one of the more enthralling movies I got the chance to watch this year. It's sad that because of usual circumstances, I probably miss stuff like this. But to be fair, because of that, I usually miss shit like Last Days of American Crime and all that horse shit I've had to put myself through. Oh, God, movie theaters cannot open up soon enough. Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed the hell out of this the entire time. Sure, it is going on very treaded ground. Like, this ground is not particularly, has a lot of room for some new ideas to be thrown in there. But, hell, I'm glad they did it so overly, not only confidently, but also did it competently. They also decided to actually put forth the effort to make this feel like almost a bigger Hollywood budget kind of film, even though I think the budget probably for this was not huge. Not compared to the hundreds of millions of dollars we see getting thrown at Hollywood films nowadays. Which is so weird, because I'm pretty sure this movie probably cost 30, maybe 40 million euros. And maybe even a little bit less. And it feels like they really used it to the best of their advantage, which is always the best way to do things. If oh, well, I need to shoot this big chaos scene, well, I'm going to get some good stunt drivers, and we're going to make this look fucking fantastic. Instead of what is the Fast and the Furious way of doing it. Shoot it with CGI, and it looks like garbage 5 years, if not sooner. This is it was this is such a breath of fresh air having a film that, one, I actually cared about the main character even though I didn't understand what he was saying, except for obviously having to read it. And not only that, but I actually gave a shit about the action, and it had me on the edge of my seat. Maybe because it actually tried to do some interesting angles. It decided to shoot things a little bit uniquely at times. It never was overboard. That was the one thing. It didn't try to be like style completely over with the actual substance to this. This movie very much felt like it was meant to be, just it's a good homage to other films in this genre, and I think it stands up there with one of the best. It's okay to be a bit of an homage, especially whenever I can sit there and go, I don't know any other film that's actually done this kind of story in this particular way. Oh, and if I can say one other possible negative I didn't feel, but I could see, it's like, I can see how some people might feel. The middle's a little on the flabby side. For an hour and a half long movie, it does drag a smidge. I was starting to sort of feel that little like, all right, come on, movie, let's get back on the pace. And as soon as I was thinking it, it ramped it back up. The biggest complaint I can say is that, like I said, it's technically in a genre that's very prolific with a lot of schlock and a few good. But I'm happy to say that this is one of the best films that this genre has given us. Fuck, over 10, maybe nearly 20 years? When did Transporter 2 come out? That's so sad, actually. So, what would I give this as a final score? It feels really high almost, but same time, I just really enjoyed the hell out of myself the entire time while watching it. I gotta give it a 9. Like I said, the middle's a little on the flabby side. That's where I give my biggest criticisms for. Even though the first one I brought up is the fact, you've probably technically seen this before. I don't mind getting a new film in pretty much a franchise, or not franchise, but in a genre I particularly like. It's like, oh, look, there's another comic book movie. Oh, darn, woe is me, I gotta go watch it. Unless it's like a comic book character I have no shits to give, like not Quan Chi, Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi, whatever his name is. I don't know, Marvel. Why are you trying to give me this? I don't want it. I don't know how else I can tell you. I don't want this. But it's like, I really enjoy getting a new taste of something. If it's good, I enjoy the hell out of it. If it's bad, I'm going to flame the damn thing. Why do you think I hate Superman in movies lately? Because they've been ass. But, hey, that is just my opinions on Lost Bullet. And yes, I know it's very grammatically not correct for English. Again, it's French, and I want to give some leeway here. So, hey, check it out. If you have some time to kill, it's an hour and a half long movie. It's well worth the time. Just sit there and watch it and enjoy the hell out of it. If you like the Transporter films, you like the first few Fast and Furious movies before they completely lost their fucking minds, check this out. This is a hell of a good film to watch. Sure, you're going to need to look up a few things, like figure out what the hell Go Fast is, because I kept mentioning, and if I can give also one slight criticism, but it's just because dumb American, explain what the fuck a Go Fast is. I had to look it up while I was watching it. I don't know what the hell this is. I know, that's pretty much my reaction. So hey, that's Lost Bullet. Check it out. It's a fun ass flick. You're gonna enjoy it. But hey, that's my opinion. Megan should be back with the next Sunday Funday, and we might go for a little bit of a twofer soon. Or we might even go for 3. We'll see how we all feel, but if not, then I should at least have for y'all a few extra videos on some movies, because I gotta talk about something soon. But hey, until then, I'll see y'all there, so bye-bye, everybody.